Hey friends, it's Mads and it's time to do my monthly crochet recap, this time for the month of June. Crazy to think that half the year has flown by already. Where has the time gone? I certainly have no idea because I've spent most of it crocheting. Now, we did start off the year with a pretty high yarn consumption, which was excellent because this year I did want to use as much yarn as I can from my inventory. So we did have a high couple of months and then we dipped down. So April was quite low, I believe. We only did 2 projects in the month of April, whereas we did, like 14, 19, and then 7. That was a bit of a dip in March and then only 2 in April. So April was definitely my lowest month so far. However, we are trending back up again. So in the month of May, I did 4 projects, and in the month of June, I did 6. One of them is my first wearable for the year, which is what I'm wearing right now. Now, this I did start in the month of April, but I didn't finish it until the month of June. So it does contribute to my June's finished project list. But I did start this on holiday when I went to Cairns in April. We had a lot of time driving around and I like to keep my hands busy in the car. So I brought some yarn along with me and I started this little project. Pretty much finished most of it. Believe it or not, each of these little strap sections took 1 skein of yarn. So just in straps alone, I had used 4 out of my 10 skeins of cotton yarn, and this is the Hobby cotton yarn. I believe it's Cotton Kings in the color Sunflower. It may or may not be discontinued. I believe it was like on clearance when I bought it last, and Hobby doesn't ship to Australia anymore, so I can't actually get more yarn, which is kind of sad because this is a little too little yarn for me. I bought 10 skeins and the pattern said that I would need maybe about 7. I did use DK weight yarn when the pattern called for a sport weight yarn. However, in the notes she did say that it was a thicker sport weight, so it could be compared to a lighter DK weight. So I just took the chance and went with it. However, I ended up using all of my 10 skeins of yarn and it's still a bit short. So it is like a crop top, which I don't completely mind, but I definitely wish it was a tad bit longer, and also the sizing I did get wrong. I definitely could have gone down a couple sizes. My measurements match the XXL or the XL sizing, I'm pretty sure, which I honestly think I could have gotten away with a medium or a large, and wish I did that because I might have ended up with a little bit more yarn to add to the length. But this is what it looks like. So this is how far it comes down. It has got a little tie sleeve there, which I absolutely love. It is meant to have like little scalloped bits on the neckline. However, I ran out of yarn, so I did not do that. But had I gone down to maybe a medium or a large, the straps would have been slightly thinner. So I may have ended up with more yarn to potentially complete that. But oh well, it is still a lovely top. I love how it flares out. So this is what it looks like. It is definitely big for me, but still a lovely top nonetheless, and it's great for summer when it gets a little bit hotter here in Melbourne. Love it nonetheless. But that is my first top. It was a pattern by for the frills. Obviously did not use the correct yarn and was crocheting on the go, so couldn't really, try it on me and measure and all things like that. It was more just of a fun project, and I think it's a fun make. I absolutely love the color. Yarn is a bit interesting though. I did use cotton yarn, and the hook size that was recommended on that particular ball band, which I thought was quite small. Typically with DK weight yarns, I think it's usually like 4+ the millimeter hook. This one called for a 3.5, and the shirt is made of single crochets. So the material I feel like is quite dense and quite sturdy. Had I gone up a hook size, it may have been more flowy, but I just followed what was recommended on the ball band. Next time around, I think I will try a larger hook size. It may create a more holy pattern though, which I don't really feel like I would like either way. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the yarn at this stage. It is a great yarn to work with, just too stiff for a top is what I'm thinking, because there's not really much fluidity. It just sort of just stays there, if that makes sense. It's quite dense and rigid, but This top may look completely different with a different type of yarn, so I will experiment with more top patterns as the years flow on. I don't know if I'm going to get another wearable done this year. I don't like to overpromise, but we shall see. And after I was done with this top, I moved on to a fun little crochet challenge. I tried to crochet as many animals as I could from the Mini Kingdoms book in 8 hours. Basically 1 business day for me or full-time workers. And I underestimated or overestimated how much I could crochet. I thought I could get, I think it was like 6 or 7 animals done within that time frame, so roughly an hour per animal. Considering it is from the Mini Kingdoms book, these makes are quite small, so I had my high hopes, but I quickly learned that wasn't going to happen. I entered the challenge with just 3 makes, so it was an interesting challenge. I did not hit my goals, but it was still fun nonetheless. I ended up making 3 little animals, and that is the dog. This is what it looks like. The little kitty cat. And the horse, which took me hours and hours and hours. I think this one took me probably 6 hours or close to that just to make this, versus these were closer to an hour. This one is bigger than these guys. It uses the base pattern for all of the humans in the book, so like the royal family and the wizard and things like that. So it is a bigger make, and then there were so many pieces to sew together, all of the hair, the ears, the nose, the hands, all of that, compared to these, which are quite simple. So for these, all you really needed to attach were the little ears, the hands and the tail, so not as much sewing involved, but still 3 adorable creatures were done. And then the remaining makes for the month of June were just as part of my Monsters Cal. So we had Murphy McToothy, which was our first project for the month of June, our first Monsters Cal project. I believe he was project number 6. I am losing track. So this is what McToothy looks like. Very true to his name, has a lot of teeth, absolutely adorable with his wonky eyes, looks so incredibly cute with a striped tail. Love it. Face for scale, smaller monster compared to some of the other makes in this book. And we also made this guy, which, depending on what you want to call him, Jeepers or Creepers, it was part of a duo. I just made one, but basically it was 2 monsters that live under a bed, and they have like a little family of dust bunnies and things like that. So yeah, very, very cute makes. Mine looks very reptilian, which is kind of the look I was going for. I wanted like a green and yellow monster, and I got one. It's so cute with the little 3 eyes and all of the yellow bits and pieces, the legs there. This one was a little fiddly to sew on just based on how the pieces were. I feel like the body attaching to the tail, how you do that can change how the monster looks, because what it's meant to be, so this is supposed to be the body and the head is sticking out just a little bit, so it's like sticking upwards. Depending on how you sew this one, it could be like faced more down, like more in line with the tail, or more pointed up. It's just literally how you sew on this little body capsule to the tail bit. So I find that a little bit fiddly. I just went with the flow and it turned out all right. But if I had to replicate this to make the other duos, the Creeper, I feel like they would look like 2 different monsters based on how I sew them together, because I cannot do symmetry apparently. But yeah, so cute. So that is my 6 makes for the month of June. We had 5 amigurumis and this top. So yarn consumption, we used 5 skeins of yarn, winning things going out of my inventory. A couple of them were for this top, and then the rest were for amigurumi. In terms of grams, we used 667 grams of yarn in these completed projects, which basically half a kilo of it went into this top. It doesn't look like half a kilo of yarn considering the size, but it is half a kilo. And then the rest, 160-ish grams, went into the amigurumi because they were all quite small makes. I also did end up going to Spotlight. Don't worry, I didn't buy more yarn. I ended up buying another bag of stuffing. Spotlight sent us a 40% off coupon, and I love using that to buy 1 kilo bags of stuffing. They can be quite pricey here in Australia. I don't know how much it costs elsewhere, but here in Spotlight it cost us about $27 for a kilo of yarn at full price. Using that discount code, I think it comes down to around $16, which is much more affordable. And going through the Monsters book, I'm actually eating quite a bit of yarn. I ended up using an entire 1 kilo bag just like 2 or 3 months because these monsters are turning out quite huge. If you'd like to join along for the Monsters Cal, it's not too late. Definitely go check out the playlist, which I will link at the end of the video for you. It is heaps of fun and the monsters are incredibly adorable, as you've just seen. But yeah, it is eating into quite a bit of stuffing, so I definitely had to go dug out and buy some more. But that is my month of June. July seems to be busy in terms of my social life. I have quite a few events coming up on the weekends and things like that, so I don't really know how I'm gonna go crochet wise. I think it might be a quiet month. I'm just gonna try and focus on my Monsters Cal makes, and then if I can, I might dabble into a few more of like the mini kingdom makes. They are quite small, and I feel like if I had a bit of extra time, I could smash out a couple of these. I am trying to work my way through the book so I can put out a book review for you, so definitely stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button and notification icon so you can see when that comes out. But yeah, I might just see you next month with another recap, and my head hanging low because I've only done 2 projects, but we shall see. Fingers crossed it's more than that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching along for this little de-stash episode. I will see you in the next one, and hopefully it is a more productive one. But until then, YouTube thinks that you might like this video over here, and don't forget to check out my Monsters Cal playlist up here. I'll see you there. Bye.